What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Monday, June 7th. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, let me know in the comments section who is your favorite and least favorite of my contenders for today's slate. We are rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with DeAndre Ayton, Joe Harris, Drew Holiday, Kyrie Irving, and Austin Rivers on the outside looking in. Who will be my favorites, my top 5 plays for today? It's time to find out. First up at number 5, we're going to the small forward spot, and we are paying up for Kevin Durant. 10,700, projected for 54. The goal is 61, and he is in the optimal lineup 45% of the time. We know Brooklyn is getting a monstrous pace-up spot here against Milwaukee, 3.2 possessions above their average. No James Harden, which means more usage, more everything in general for Kevin Durant. I've got him in for 40 minutes, 1.36 fantasy points per minute, 33% usage, almost 33 real points, 7.5 boards, 5.5 assists, 2.5 stocks. What's not to like? Paying up for KD is pretty easy. There's a lot of value, oddly enough, on this 2-game slate, so don't be afraid to pay up for Durant. Next up at number 4, we're switching games, going to shooting guard and getting $8,700 Devin Booker. Projected for 42, the goal is 50, and he's in the optimal lineup 45% of the time. Booker's playing monstrous minutes as the main creator for the Suns. I don't want to sell Chris Paul short, but this is the Devin Booker season. I gave him 40 minutes, but he was playing more than 40 in the first round. It wouldn't surprise me if he went higher here. I do think there's still upside in that projection. 1.06 fantasy points per minute, 32% usage, 29 real points, 5 assists, almost 5 boards. You don't get the defensive stats with Booker, but you also get a pretty reasonable price tag as well, even at a shooting guard spot that's kind of tough to fill. So would you be all that surprised if Devin Booker got to 50 fantasy points? I think he does that 23% of the time. I'd like to be there today if it happens. Next up at number 3, we're going back to the small forward spot, getting $7,700 Khris Middleton. Not the best shooting day in game 1, but I've got him projected for 39 fantasy points here. The goal is just 44 because of that price tag, and he's in the optimal lineup 46% of the time. I just expect it to be a little bit better for Middleton. 1.03 fantasy points per minute, 38 minutes, and if Bud wakes up, potentially more. 25% usage, and then he does a little bit of everything. 21 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, a steal. I like that for him. And the fact that his median projection is only 5 points short of his goal, that's not too bad. If you don't have the ability to pay up for Kevin Durant, Khris Middleton is, in this scenario, just slightly better as an overall play, but it makes it easier that you can drop down from Durant to Middleton. That salary savings is big, allows you to pay up elsewhere. In particular, you can pay up at number 2, my power forward pay up option of the day. That would be Giannis Antetokounmpo, 11,300, projected for 61. The goal is just 64. He hits that goal 40% of the time, and he's in the optimal 47% of the time. I think that he can play 38 minutes. It wouldn't shock me if he played more. It wouldn't shock me if they had a different coach. With the current coach, 38 minutes seems pretty reasonable. 1.6 fantasy points per minute for Giannis, 32% usage rate, 31 real points, 12.5 boards. That's a double-double basically by default. 7 assists as well, 2.7 stocks. Against a Brooklyn defense that is really not that good. Game 1 didn't go their way. I think Giannis has to step up in game 2, do a little bit more. Not that he had a bad game 1, but this is his team. If the Milwaukee Bucks are going to win this series, I think it's going to come on the back of Giannis. So I'm expecting a big one here, and that's why he is my number 2 contender. Now, before we get to that number 1 contender, one last reminder, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Then follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Only place you're going to get updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. Finally, let me know in the comments section your favorite contender, your least favorite contender, and the contender that you thought should have been on the list that you didn't see. This one is easy today. Power forward eligible Blake Griffin is the number 1 contender today, and it's not even close. He's 5,100, projected for 27. The goal is just 30. He's in the optimal lineup 56% of the time. So he gets the pace up spot. He played monster minutes in game 1, and I think he's set to play north of 30 minutes once again. right around 0.8 fantasy points per minute, 12.5 points, 6 boards, 3.5 assists, maybe a stock and a half. This is one of the best places that you can find value on today's slate. It's looking like he's going to play a lot of minutes. They didn't dust off DeAndre Jordan in game 1, and since they're coming off a win, I don't really see why they would try to change that up. It worked in game 1. I expect it to work again in game 2. So 30 plus minutes of Blake means he is the #1 contender for today. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Monday, June 7th. Process show is in the books. Go watch that. DraftKings version of this video is around here somewhere. Strategy show at 10 a.m. with Laffy. You don't want to miss it. And then I will be on live before lock tonight at, I believe, 6:30, but an hour before the actual lock for the slate will happen. So keep your eyes peeled for that and for my sim update. Since I'm live tonight, I will be around making these updates. You don't want to miss it. Good luck tonight, everybody. I will talk to you again tomorrow morning for another edition of the Contenders.